Good morning, students. This is Dr. Beebe. Welcome to this overview for Monday, November 4th. I'll get started now. I'm going to just start by jumping into Blackboard. And you should be seeing what's going on my screen, I hope. I'm going to just jump into the course, and then we'll get started. Okay, here we are on the main page. I'm going to stop my video and continue with this overview. Okay, so just so we are clear, right now we are in I believe that still the 10th week of the course, but it's moving by quickly. I have sent out a greeting and an announcement recently that includes a course survey. It's a mid-course survey. Hopefully you will complete that for us. It will help us improve the course for this semester and future semesters. So once you log in, you'll be able to bring that announcement up by just clicking on your screen. So I'm going to go back again. But at this point, I'm going to emulate a student view so it looks more like what you're seeing on your own screen. There, that's better. And now I'm going to get started with my overview. So at this point, we are in the lecture content, which will be, we've just completed the computational thinking lecture, and this week Dr. Zeitz is going to present a lecture on the topic of global collaboration. So in a little bit, by the end of the day today, you'll see another folder here in this lectures folder that will be providing you information, including a quiz and a lecture and the RWLD link to that content on not computational thinking, but on this week's content, which is global collaboration. So I'm just going to also point out to you that the RWLD blog is available now. It was available last Thursday, and you can go ahead and take a look at this. It's got some great links to collaborative projects, such as writing projects and so forth, that are available to classroom teachers that actually were started up by classroom teachers as a great way to connect students to other students across the world. The blog also talks about the minor that you can sign up for in educational technology. So consider doing that. It really does make a great addition to your degree when you get an educational technology minor on that degree. It can open some doors for you. So consider that as well. I'm going to close out of this blog, and then I'm going to go into what the main kind of ongoing project right now is. I'm going to go back to the course content, and I'm going to jump into the class projects and labs area. Right now in green is that teacher website folder, and that is what we're working on. It's due the 8th, which is of course this Friday. And I just kind of want to touch base with you again on the project requirements so you're fully aware of what is required, and so that you can contact me if you have questions. I'm going to click on project requirements. Here we are on that great requirements page. It really puts it all out here for you. You have an access to look at demonstrations by this is a sample website that Magda Galloway and Dr. Zeitz created that includes some of the components that are required by the website, including links to social media, an introduction to the teacher, a welcome area, learning areas, volunteer aspects, resources, which will be some additional websites that you'll provide. This teacher provided information on Khan Academy. The learning, excuse me, as you'll see, is going to be, when you talk about the learning, you're going to actually refer to your thematic unit. So you'll provide kind of a reasonable introduction for parents' consumption mostly, unless you're a secondary high school teacher or something. For parents, introducing what that learning is, and probably also this would be where I would include the I can statements for what the student is going to be able to learn how to do. So in student and parent friendly language, you're going to include I can statements as well. I'm jumping back to the teacher website requirements page and going to go down the specific requirements. So in addition to the very specific items listed in the rubric, you'll need a welcome message. You'll need an introduction of yourself. You'll need a learning introduction. Again, when I just pointed out that website, the learning introduction was to your thematic unit. Okay, and it will also define the students' learning outcomes in the form of I can statements. So you'll provide that. You've already created some I can statements. If you worked with other elementary teachers, you probably each for your different areas came up with I can statements. Maybe you waited on that until it got to the video phase, but feel free to share your I can statements with one another, because each elementary school teacher or future elementary teacher in this class is going to include not just one I can statement, but include an I can statement for different subject areas, okay? So include about 3 or 4 of those. If you're a future high school teacher and you're focusing on science, then your multiple I can statements can all address the topic of science. But if you're elementary, you're gonna have to have some for a different subject area. So I just want you to be aware of that so that you can do well on the project. Learning resources, you're going to find 2 websites that are helpful. You saw when I just did a really quick demo of the website that Magda Galloway and Dr. Zeitz created. That included Khan Academy as a great, useful website. Well, you'll probably include useful websites depending on what your interests are and what your grade level is. Like ABC Ya is a great website. It's got games and everything all around math and literacy. Vocabulary is a great literacy website. There are Storyline Online, that's movie stars reading books, really great sites. So find some sites that kind of fit your website and include those in your website. Of course, you're using the Google Sites in order to create that website. So what happens when you create your Google site is it's then a really easy matter to incorporate some of the other elements of this page, like incorporating a Google form. It's really easy. If you create the Google form first, and then you're in your website and you want to link it in, it's a very easy matter to just on the right toolbar of that website, that Google site editing mode, you'll be able to very easily incorporate that Google form that you already created. So consider that. You'll include not only those learning resources, you'll include a Google Calendar, you'll include that Google form, which will have a specific purpose. Maybe you're collecting information from parents, maybe you're getting information about that student, what the parent goals are for their student, what the parents' volunteer attitudes and abilities are, that kind of thing. So consider that. Again, there are samples provided up here in this yellow block. As with every assignment, there are always some examples that you can look at from previous students. In this case, there's also a demo that the course designers came up with. So a Google Sheet should also be included. Maybe your Google Sheet's going to be as simple as what happens every day in terms of a schedule for your students. Social media, again, you're going to link to some social media sites, at least 2 of them, okay? So that is pretty much the overview here. When you submit it, you're going to provide not only the link to the website, and that can be an attached document. You're going to apply the link to the website, but also you're going to do that reflection again. And in this case, the reflections are relating to INSTTECH standards for educators. And in your reflection, not only will you talk about the context, who your learners are, etc., but you'll talk about what INSTTECH standards this project aligns with. Okay, and this kind of talks about the different requirements relating to images. You should have an image, at least 1 on each page, and so forth. So that is very useful. I'm going to close out of this though now, and I'm going to go back to the content area, and I'm going to go show you about the submission area. So I'm clicking now on the teacher website submission. So this is where you'll submit it. Again, you can simply link a Word document here. This happens on Friday by 10:00 p.m., November 8th. So you can just link a Word document that has that has a website URL included in it along with your reflection, or you can write a submission and include the link there and provide the reflection in a separate document. Whatever way you prefer, it's fine. The assignment's worth 110 points, and you definitely, as always, want to take a look at the rubric. So I'm going to just bring up a share of the rubric. You can see how that looks. So always, I never even look at the needs improvement because that's obviously not what you want, but you're going to look at meets and exceeds expectations. So you're going to have the welcome message. You're going to have all the required elements that are listed here, the Google Calendar, so forth, and they're all worth a different number of points. Now that Google form, you know, you can get 10 points of it, but if it's not a useful form, if it's superfluous or not helpful, it's not going to get the full 10 points. So even as you add these components, make sure they're of quality, okay? And then the images and copyright. You should add an image, at least one image on each page. You should use the appropriate images, so you can do a safe search with advanced Google search and make sure you filtered it for, you know, things that are okay to use educationally without attribution or whatever. Or you can use those wonderful sites from the Iowa AEA website, and I will provide a link to that again. I will provide that somewhere for you where it's evident, so that you can get those free images on Iowa AEA. Perhaps I'll send you another announcement with that, or maybe I'll put it in the course content area with the website folder. So that's a great way, and you can cite those by simply using the clip art URL underneath the clip art. Okay, so a reflection, you'll do a reflection that's aligned with at least 2 ISTE standards, and then you'll have a good visual design. As mentioned, you can just check in with this rubric, and then the hyperlinks are labeled descriptively. What that means is you're not going to have a hyperlink that just says click here and it goes to Khan Academy. It's going to say visit Khan Academy through this link, and that whole link is hyperlinked, right? So that's what they mean by labeled descriptively. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. I'm going to stop the share of this rubric, and I'm going to do a new share of another website. Let's go back to this area. So that is pretty much the summary of this assignment. As always, I'll be posting the archive of this Zoom meeting in the recordings area, and you can get all the recordings from this area off of the course website by just clicking on recordings from Monday morning meetings. And of course, as always, you can also provide questions by just clicking on the course discussions area, and you can post questions and ask requests for technical support right here in this area, and I'll be sure to respond to it. The nice thing about this is if you have a question, probably other people do as well, so this really helps other people in the course as well. So I'm going to end the recording now, and I invite you to contact me if you have any questions. Have a great week.